to another Crochet with Cris tutorial. I, of course, am your host, Cris, and I'm going to be showing you how to make the Shamrock Fringe for the Shamrock Shawlette pattern found in the Crochet Spot website. For a link to the full pattern, look in the doobly-doo below. Otherwise, we're going to pretend that this swatch is the Shawlette pattern. It is basically a granny triangle, then you finish your rows and you come across the top with a single crochet. All of this is designated in the pattern, so I do encourage you to go check out the pattern, which is of course linked down below. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I have finished my piece and did my single crochet, so I've finished in this upper left hand corner of my shawlette. The pattern for the Shamrock is actually very simple. I also wanted to point out that I am using a smaller hook size for this demonstration. What I found is that I used a larger hook for the shawlette and moved to a smaller hook for the fringe and got a much nicer result, something that I preferred. What I got with the pattern is actually very nice, but my personal preference caused me to change hook size. It also doesn't help that I crochet very tight. So the hook size that I'm using for this demonstration is not the same hook that is in the pattern or suggested for the pattern. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to chain 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, in the third chain from the hook, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to slip stitch to draw a ring. Now, this is the part that actually got a little sticky for me, because it's like, well, where do you do with the little knob? So, in order to keep nice, consistent shamrocks, what I did was pull it up a little and slide the knob up between the hook and the yarn, then pull it down with my middle finger and hold on to it. Now everything that we do into the ring is going to be into this ring here. So now I'm going to chain 2, and this is by the pattern, and I'm going to double crochet into this ring. So yarn over. This is a very tight ring, so what I basically did was just make sure I had at least 2 strands on top of my hook. And I'm going to yarn over and draw through. Maybe. Yarn over and draw through, and that leaves the 3. This is just a standard double crochet, so yarn over and draw through 2, yarn over and draw through the last 2. And now, per the pattern, we're going to chain 2 more. And now we're going to slip stitch into the same ring that we did our double crochet. Now for me, for this pattern, I found once you have finished, this is the first little petal or the leaf on the shamrock, pull it good and tight and hold it. Now we're going to, per the pattern, we are going to chain 2, and now we're going to double crochet into the same ring. I want to apologize for the focus on my flip cam too, by the way. Let's go ahead and finish that double crochet, and now we're going to chain 2 just like we did before. We're going to slip stitch into the ring and then pull it tight. Now I'm going to chain 2 again. This is the third leaf. We are going to double crochet into the ring. Now we're going to 2 chains. Now we're going to slip stitch into the ring. Finish my slip stitch there and pull it tight. Now you see you have your 3 leaves. So now we're going to chain 5. For mine, because I do tighter, I do 6, although the pattern does just call for 5. I felt that 6 evened up my shamrock better with this side. And now we're going to slide this down, and in this first space down the side of your shawlette, we're going to slip stitch. And now you've completed 1 shamrock fringe. It's adorable. Now let's go ahead and do another one because I want to get us down to this point. So I'm going to do the 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, 6, 7, 8. And again, we're going to slip stitch in that third chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3. I want to say that I do have permission to do this tutorial for the pattern. So with the piece facing, I'm going to tug on it a little bit, and I'm going to flip that little loop up between the hook and the yarn and do my chain 2 to secure it on this side. And that is consistent with what I did to the first one, so my shamrock isn't going to twist. So we're going to double crochet into the ring, and all of this again is per the pattern. But yeah, I did get permission to do this tutorial. I didn't want to do something for somebody else's pattern. But I felt, I'm going to chain 2, this was probably the hardest part of the entire pattern. So I thought it might help. Now I have my first leaf, so I'm going to pull it. Walk you through the next leaf here. We're going to chain 2. Now we're going to double crochet into the ring. Now I'm going to chain 2. And I'm going to slip stitch into the ring, and that will complete the leaf. Pull it nice and snug. Let's do the third leaf. So chain 2. I'm going to double crochet into that ring. Now we're going to chain 2 again. We're going to come down and slip stitch into the ring. And once we finish that slip stitch, pull it nice and snug, and then do your chains. Remember, the pattern says 5, I do 6. You can eyeball it to see. What I did is I held it up and I kind of saw, oh, I needed one more chain because they weren't exactly the same length. I think it's because I pull the shamrock really tight and I was using a smaller hook size. So I'm going to finish one more, the third one on the side, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do the point one together, and then I'll be done. So I'll meet you back here in a second. Alright, as you can see, I have finished the 3 shamrocks down that side of the shawlette. Obviously it would be much larger and you have way more than 3, but for the purpose of this demonstration I do have the 3 shamrocks done, and I am ready to put the shamrock in the peak. This is the way, this is the top of the shawlette. So these are the sides, and we're getting ready to do the clover that's in the pink, or the peak. Cleverly enough, which I thought was adorable, it is the only 4-leaf clover. I just thought that was just a cute little addition, and I like showing people because I made a full-size shawl out of this pattern and actually took it to work, and people love this little pattern on the side. So let's go ahead and do the one in the peak. So now you can see I've turned my work upwards, so this is technically the bottom of the shawl. We're still going to do the chain 8, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to slip stitch in the third chain from the hook, same as before. And the same as before, even though it's that way, we're going to pull up a little bit and flip the loop between the yarn and the hook. We want to keep that consistent. And do a chain 2. And now we're going to double crochet into the loop. We're going to chain 2 and slip stitch into the loop to form the first leaf and pull it tight. We're going to chain 2 again, and we're going to repeat that whole process. So chain 2 followed by a double crochet into the loop. We're going to chain 2, slip stitch into the loop, and now we will have had 2 leaves done. So let's chain 2, double crochet into the hook, a loop, pull that up, chain 2 again, and single crochet into the loop. Maybe, there it goes. Now we have 3. This is pretty much what our fringe is on the side, but we're going to be repeating it one more time to make the 4-leaf clover. This is chain 2 and the double crochet in the loop, followed by a chain 2 and a slip stitch. And now, this is the other difference. We're going to do our chain 5 if you're following the pattern, 6 if you're odd like me. And instead of going into the next space like we do on the side, we're going to go back into that chain 3 opening of the peak. And that takes care of our 4-leaf clover in the peak. So what you're going to do now is to continue down this side by doing a chain 8 and then joining it, your chain 6 into this one, just like you did the other. When you get to the end, you're simply going to slip stitch to join it and tie it off and weave in your ends, and you will be done. So I want to thank you for following along this tutorial. Again, if you are interested in the pattern, it is down in the doobly-doo. It's the Crochet Spot. They have a lot of great patterns. It's a great resource for other crocheters. So in the meantime, have a great day, everybody, and happy crocheting.